Hello, my name is Steven, and welcome to the new video that we're going to talk about designing tiles for easy building of levels. But why use tiles? Why not just build the whole level out of just as one image? Well, it's very simple. Tiles give you the possibility to create small chunks and then kind of snap them together like Legos. You can move them around, you can change them, you can do small variations in the design, and you can build a level very fast once you have the required initial tiles ready. Another thing is that using the template of the required tiles to build a level, it's very much easy to just change up a bit a tile set that you already have and go from, let's say, a woodland to a city block type of level, or to a pirate ship, or to a mine, and so on. So tiles can be a bit overwhelming when you look at it in the beginning, because there is some amount of work to do before you can get to the point that you can build the level. But once that's done, you will require much less time in the end to build a level. It can be easily also to automate building a level, because if you have these small tiles in Unity, actually you can put them, for example, as sprites, and then make it so different objects have that sprite as as a view. So then you can just say that you want all these 5 tiles or 10 different tiles to be ground level. These 5 tiles can be platforms. These 3 tiles can be edges, and so on. So it's very easy to automate. And here we can see more or less all the tiles all the tile variations that you would need, so you can build a level. Here we were gonna go with kind of a woodland meadow type of tile set, but of course you can go with everything that you would like. Tiles are very good for building platformers, for building RPG type of games. I've also seen them used for first-person shooters, for strategies, everything that can have little cubes or hexagons or octagons or whatever, you can more or less make into a tile type of design. We're going to talk, of course, about kind of square type of tiling today, and the basics. So more or less, I would always suggest to create, when you're doing a tile, like the initial tiling, to do a 3 by 3 grid of squares. And normally we start from square 5, because that was in the middle, and then it's going to be very much easier to kind of make them connect and intersect with each other. I normally would suggest also to go with a size of 32 by 32 or 64 by 64, because these tiles are going to be normally small, and if you make them a bit too big, then the whole process of making them fit together to make smaller and larger parts, it actually becomes a bit more complicated. And I'll just walk you through the process that we're going to do, that I'm also going to do in throughout this video from scratch. So first, as we said, we start with number 5. For the purpose of the metal, we choose some kind of rock color, and we start making little gaps, like a little honeycomb type of shape. Make islands, make them seem random, because of course if we're doing natural stuff, then random is better. If we're doing something man-made, then maybe going at it from a point of view of more like made by somebody is much better. And of course, here I just want to say that if we go into, you can find the assets if you go into the pixel art workshop directory, the tiles from scratch. You have the number 1, 2, 3, as well as the 3x3 tiles set. So feel free to jump in from whichever you want and start changing them and making them your own. But yes, so we first start with some outlines. Then, again, as we talked about, and lighting and coloring part of the workshop, you need to start imagining from where the sun hits them. In our case, it's gonna be hitting them from above. So everything kind of has the more brighter spots from above and a bit the darker spots from below. And already here you can start seeing that it kind of looks like loosely compacted dirt. Slowly but surely you start to give the whole rock face a bit of depth by adding some more background stuff, more foreground stuff. The brighter ones are maybe something that sticks out of the rock cliff. The darker side is something that's maybe farther away. It gives a more fuller appearance to the rocks. Once this is done, the next step happens, which is a bit more annoying. We need to repeat it at least 4 more times. We try to randomize it as much as possible, and the suggestion is to go with number 2, 4, 6, and 8. And you try to blend them as much as possible, kind of clean up the edges so it doesn't look like they come from completely different little 32 by 32 tiles, but it's a full thing, because later on when you cut them and connect them like Legos, the lines between them are not going to be that much visible. Once you do that, we go with the other ones, 1, 3, 7, and 9. And of course, we try to also make them so they blend with the other ones. If you want to go the extra mile and you want to be absolutely sure that everything matches, then of course you would need to take the leftmost side here and try to match it with the rightmost side, the topmost side with the bottommost side. This way you would at least know that everything is going to match. And of course the middle side needs to be able to match with both the left and the right, the top, the 2 tops and the 2 bottoms. But this becomes more and more complicated, and sometimes just leaving it like this would yield quite nice results with the technique we're gonna see in the next one. So yes, now we had these things, they're ready. How do we go with, and make a tile set? Well, I can't even remember everything that needs to be done to create a tile set, but that's why we have some nice designs that we can follow. But as it goes, you need 1 tile that has no ending. This one is going to be the filler tile. You can have multiple of these if you want, but for our sake, we can just go with 1. This one is going to be the filler one. It's going to go in all the cracks and so on. Then we need 5 tiles with 1 ending. So that can be left, right, top, bottom, and maybe 1 as well that can be the one that you can walk, your character can walk on. Of course, if this is more for doing a platformer or kind of a side scroller type of thing. If you want to do something that's overhead, for example, you don't need these specific walking ones. Then you would need 9 tiles with 2 endings. So something that has these kind of edges on all of the endings. Of course, the first 4 are on top, bottom, left, right. Then we have 1 the top and bottom, 1 left and right only. And then the 3 ones are with the walking ones. Then we have 7 tiles with 3 endings. So these can be tiles that maybe are floating in the air. You can be some kind of obstacle, something that can kill the player, or something that you need to dodge and so on. The first 4. The other three can be floating platforms that the player might be able to jump on, or they can go up and down like an elevator and so on. And then we have two tiles with four endings. One is a complete obstacle. It has everything that maybe it's just kind of a floating debris. And the other one is maybe a small jump step for a player to go around. As you can see, if you follow this combination, you can very much easily create a whole level out of this. And going from the tile that we were talking about, here we can create exactly like this. So one, that's a workhorse that has no endings, it goes in everything. Then four that have one ending that the player cannot touch, and one that the player can walk on, and so on and so forth. And you can already see that with these ones we can build a whole level without too much problem.